Good morning. It's just after 5 here in Calgary. We are going to be exploring legs. So specifically, I want to play around with what's going on through your hip, down through your leg, through your foot, and really enable a great connection between all of this so that you feel more stable, you feel more connected and lighter through your whole being, because a well-functioning body surrenders upward. Okay, so that's what we're going to be playing with today. So I have 2 blocks handy, and we'll begin here on your mat. We're going to start with doing a downward dog on 2 blocks. So we're going to take the blocks here and come on up and into your downward dog. And just feel what this feels like today. Easy breathing. Feel your feet. Just get a sense of where you're at this moment. Okay, so now let's bring one foot through and come into a lunge. Now you'll see that my back knee is on the floor. If you need to place something underneath your kneecap, then please do that, okay? So we're just gonna play here. I'm gonna take one block away for a sec. You're gonna have a block on the side. I've just removed it so you can see what I'm doing. We're gonna just come back and forward. Hip, knee, ankle, opposite hip and knee. Hip, hips, knees, ankles. Okay, so initially let's start by just keeping the foot on the floor. So feel those 3 points of your feet on the floor and see where you get to. Try not to push this. It's really easy just to shove the knee back. I want you to think about the tempo between your knee, your hip, and your ankle. And then allow that foot to come up. So hip, knee, ankle. And the beauty is looking at a screen is notice what happens with your back, and if you kind of come into a huge rounded position, can you keep the movement? There will be obviously some pelvis motion, but can you make the movement more about your hips, your knees, and that ankle? Okay, good. Other side. So we're moving forward and back. And to start with, that front foot is going to stay on the floor. So pay attention to the center of the heel, ball of your foot, base of your pinky toe. Good. And then let's take the foot off the floor. So what it's looking like is this. I always find it interesting how one side feels a bit different than the other. Being aware of that tempo between your parts, between your hip, your knee, and your ankles. Okay, now what we're going to do is come back to the other side. So we're coming back to another lunge. Take the block on the inside of the foot. Now we're going to rotate the leg bone out at the hip socket, and then we're going to come back and do the same thing. Rotate the leg bone out and then move through the hip, knee, and ankle. Okay, so let me point it this way for you so you can see at this angle. So you're here, rotate at the hip, and then come back. Now, oftentimes when people do this, they cue it by knee out. But what I want you to take a peek at is this knee. The femur head is at the femur connects to the hip. It's actually a movement of the hip, of the leg bone and the hip socket. And you're coming onto the outside edge of your foot. So do your best to not have your foot slide in. Allow for the movement to be at the hip wherever you get to. Okay? So you're in your lunge, leg out, and rotate. Easy, easy, easy breathing. Really easy breathing. And just notice too, like sometimes when you're limited in through your hip or in the hamstring as you're doing this, you're foot and your ankle can become quite contorted as you move. So notice if you're doing anything through your ankle or your toes or your foot, like your arch is really, really shifting. I mean really, really. Like beyond what seems to be normal for you. And just notice that that might be doing a bit of compensation, or at least it's highlighting what is maybe not happening through your hip. All right, lovely. Now, other side. Blocks are on the inside. Rotate that leg bone out from the hip, and the foot follows, as does the knee. Really, really easy. Now, your pace might be slower than mine. I might be just getting ahead because I'm sort of excited about this. So where we're going to move to next is a little bit more strength work through the lunge. You'll be able to play with the knee coming off the floor. Okay, so now let's switch to the other side. So I'll demonstrate from this side and then I'll move the other way. So we're going to come into a lunge now and bring the back heel up. Okay. And just stay here for a moment and notice your pressure of your hands on the blocks. And ever so slightly, I want you to take a little bit of pressure off of your hands. So I'm going to turn and face you to show you. Now you take as many breaks as you need as you play with this. So you're here in your lunge and you've got whatever weight on your hands. I want you to take a little bit of that weight out of your hands, just like about a quarter of it. And notice as you do that, you're going from 4 points, 1 foot, 2 separate feet and your hands, and you're now taking weight out of those 2 points. I'm going to exaggerate it. So now your legs have to load it, right? Or somewhere in your body has to take that load. So what you'll be feeling as you take some of that weight out of your hands is more strength in your legs, hopefully. Not gripping in your toes, not in your jaw. So take a breather, take that leg down. Let's swap sides, okay? So I'll go this angle for you. So the idea here is that you're taking excess tension or excess work out of your hands, and you're teaching yourself how to take more of it in through your legs. Because sometimes what can happen is people just do this, and then they grip through their toes and their jaw, or they brace, or they pull up their pelvic floor or their abdomen, which isn't necessarily wrong. It just might not be super responsive and enable you to get what you really want out of this. So you can even come up to here and just kind of toy with the blocks a bit. But you'll feel how your legs, like I can feel how my legs, if I'm here, I am more forward in my body, of course, but my arms are taking part of that load. Now I take some of that load away from my hands. Now particularly this leg, and then the front of my quad here, that's what's taking it, yeah? Okay, let that come down. Let's do that one more time. Switch sides. I think it's this side now. Just to kind of explore it. I've mentioned this before, but one of the very first yoga teachers I ever had talked about butterfly pressure, and I really like that idea. So you take butterfly pressure, you move yourself toward having butterfly pressure of your hands on the block, and then that what starts to build the strength through your legs in a position like this. But you do it gradually, right? That's why I will often say that strength is easy. And some people kind of push back on me when I say that. But I think the reason why strengthening is hard is because people go at it too fast and too hard, really. And so then it is hard. But if you do it gradually and think like the turtle always wins, you actually get stronger a lot faster. Just by honoring yourself and where you're at. Like just come from a place of love, not from like beating your body down. And notice what your body can absorb in terms of load. Notice where you're gripping. And then just adapt for that. And just be consistent with it. Okay, lovely. And then bring that down. Okay, let's come back into downward dog. And let's see where you're at. And you might notice that there's a little bit of a difference, maybe. Maybe not, but maybe. In terms of what you're feeling. Okay, let's come through now into another lunge. We'll just kind of keep this leg thing going a bit. You're going to press the heel back of this back leg. So this leg here. Press that heel back. And then notice what happens through your body. And notice the bottom of your front foot. Let some of the pressure come away from the hand. Let your legs take more of the load. Okay, and then slowly come on up. Maybe you come up into cowboy surrender or cactus arms. Maybe you come all the way up. But your legs are what are connecting you. Yeah? Good. And then come down. And let's switch. So you can come out however you want to come out. Maybe you're back to downward dog. Bring it forward. So now you know where we're going here, right? So now press that heel back. Feel the 3 points in the bottom of your feet. Take a little bit of pressure away from the hands. A little more butterfly through the fingers. Let the legs absorb the load. Your legs have you. Trust in building the relationship between your legs and your heart and your brain. Let the coordination occur between your nervous system and your muscular myofascial system. Maybe your arms come up. Maybe they come up all the way. Good job. Okay, we're going to come all the way up now. And now we're in to standing. Okay, now feel this, yeah? And take your legs wide. Good. And now let's rotate the leg bones out. Good. And now hands come on the outside of your thighs. And now press those thighs out into your hands really gently. But take a look at your feet. Right? Because what we've done is we've just rotated. I'm going to just hold here. Rotate the leg bone here in the hip socket. And you'll see how my foot, the bottom of that chain is what's moving. So it's the leg bones that are moving in the hip socket. Now we're going to do a little bit more leg movement. Let me just get myself more settled here. Okay. So legs are moving into the hands. And just take a look at what happens with your feet. And can you let the 3 points of your feet be on the ground? So if you press your legs back, your whole foot's not coming off the floor. So maintain some connection there. And legs come into your hands. So you're being really aware of your pelvis and your legs and your feet. So this isn't just some exercise to do. It's not part of some system. It's actually enabling you to become aware of how your parts are functioning, something that you may have been unaware of before. Okay, so now think about the lunge that we did at the beginning. And we were rotating the leg bones out and straightening. We're going to do something similar but different. So the balls of the feet are going to stay on the ground. The ball of the foot, base of the pinky toe, center of the heel. We're going to press the legs into the hands, maintain the connection with the feet, maintain the pressure into the hands, and then come on up. Good. And then come down, and then press the legs into the hands and up. So you're creating a little bit of this rotation / abduction through the hips as you come up. Now, some of you might feel something in through the knee or the back of the knee. Take a look at your foot. As you come down and as you do that rotation, do you come off of your foot? Like, do you come off those 3 points of the feet? So this is where you get to coordinate, right? Watch what's going on in your leg bones. Watch what's going on in your feet. You get to coordinate the rotation back into your hands and then up. So this is kind of on you. This is where your awareness really gets to grow of what the connection is between your hip and your feet. Yeah? It's kind of cool actually when you really start to build that. Particularly if you're a cyclist or a runner or a stand-up paddler. Good. And just play with that. All right, good. Now let's come on up into standing. Good. Notice what that feels like. All right, let's come back down to the floor. Let's come back to your downward dog. And now notice what this feels like. Notice what your hands are doing on your blocks, if you're utilizing as much pressure. And then step one foot forward. Let's come back to the lunge and just notice what it feels like. How do you feel in your legs now, just by the action of the work that you have done? What do the legs now feel like? What do the feet feel like? Good. And then other side. Now, you're probably getting a number of ideas of how you can incorporate this into your practice. So really have a lot of fun with it and let me know where you get to and how you explore it. Good, and then bring that down. Okay, we're going to take one of the blocks, bring it down now. The block is too low of a height and you need to sit in a bolster or sit into a chair, then do that. But what I'm curious about is when you're in sitting, because really all we did is played here with the legs. That's all we did specifically. And of course the pelvis. Now notice yourself in sitting even. And notice if there's any more verticalness of your spine without having to hold yourself, without having to grip, without having to put a bunch of tension in your body. Are you just here? Or what level of that? So just notice that for yourself. And let me know below what the result was from playing around with your legs, getting more connected in through the legs, having the legs take more of the load, but in a very thoughtful, aware, conscious way, so you have connection between your hips and your feet. And what did that do for your entire system? Lovely? Okay, so now from here, you can do so many things. You might want to go for a run, you might want to do a workout, you might want to do a stronger vinyasa practice. Maybe you're set here for a meditation or a pranayama. Whatever you choose to do next, just take 5 breaths. Make it a transitionary pause. Allow this to integrate and have a really, really great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you tomorrow. Take good care. Mwah.